There are many different disciplines of skateboarding: downhill, street, slalom, what have you. However, in the downhill community, there are also subcultures. Now, in the last couple of years, I've noticed a distinct split in subcultures between the engineers, the cavemen, and then most likely even a combination of those two. So let's dive into those. Now, gear is the biggest splitter between the caveman and the engineer. The engineer is very, very gear focused, trying to, squeeze out the tiniest little ounce of performance in their setup. They constantly buy new gear because they are trying to figure out what they like. They might contribute or create spreadsheets discussing the very fine specifications of wheels and truck design, and will debate things like oversteer and understeer characteristics. They also take hella setup photos. When they pick up their board after a run, they are very careful to grab the rail so as to not scratch their work of art. While they do care about the concaves and the construction of the board, they could care less if there is a graphic or not, as it does not help with the performance. Engineers have to skate Jordan 1 highs with brake soles, always in a pretty horrendous colorway, because engineers will say things like, "Skating isn't a fashion show." Fun fact is, you can tell an engineer is an engineer when they are astonished by someone's ability to skate downhill on TKP trucks. We've covered a lot of the engineer, but what about the caveman? Cavemen do not care much about their setup whatsoever. In fact, they actually kind of detest those that do. When people post questions about their setups and how to tweak things, you will oftentimes hear a caveman respond with, "Maybe you should just skate it," or "I think you're just overthinking this." A lot of caveman skaters have been skating that same Comet ethos on Caliber 2s for, 5-6 years at this point. And you can tell somebody is definitely a caveman skater when they brag about enjoying their cast truck ride more than their precision trucks that they have too. If we're talking follow filming here, the caveman skater prefers to improvise their way down and celebrates sketchiness. The engineer, on the other hand, will refilm that run over and over and over until they have maxed out the performance capabilities of the road. The engineer will also be sure to have a spotter on every single corner to shut down the road, to have a 3-way radio system set up for safety. The caveman will more likely say, "Just stay in your lane and we should be good." Engineers, they love a good trip itinerary with pre-packaged meals. And the caveman's probably going to bring bread and peanut butter and maybe some bananas or apples or something. Cavemen see reckless self-indulgence as a big part of the skateboarding culture, and engineers are going to see that as bad for the sport. Cavemen identify with street skating culture a lot, and engineers more identify with car racing. When it comes to the growth of downhill and getting more people involved, the engineer is willing to type out paragraphs upon paragraphs of advice on front foot angle when the Grom asks why they can't break out into a slide on longboard fam. The caveman more just says, "Go faster." The engineer believes in creating slide clinics and events catered to newbies to get more people involved, and the caveman is a little more laissez-faire, not really actually caring that much if the sport grows at all. All in all, neither one of these subcultures is the right or wrong way to pursue skateboarding, even though they probably feel the opposite about that if they are strong enough in the caveman and engineer category. But having these different cultures in the community is good for it. Creates good discussion. Makes people hate each other.